Hey YouTube, how you doing? Biggie here, how's everything? Welcome to another movie review, and today's movie review is going to be very enjoyable, at least in my opinion. Without a doubt, if it's today's movie review is a movie I really enjoy, without a doubt, personally enjoy. If you like CGI generated animation like I do, you will love this movie I'm reviewing today. Yep, the movie I'm reviewing today is a great film. Probably familiar with it. Over the Hedge. Yep, Over the Hedge. Over the Hedge was released in the spring of 2006 and it's directed by Garry Kirkpatrick and Tim Johnson. Yes. And this movie deserves a lot of praise. I mean, it's so funny. And the directors did a pretty good job in this film, and also it has a very they did a pretty good job with this film. The directors, the whole staff the crew did a good job with this. Even the voice talents did pretty good. It has like Bruce Willis as the voice of RJ the raccoon, Steve Carell as Hammy the squirrel, Garry Shandling, may he rest in peace, as the turtle Vern. And this also has like voice talents of like Wanda Sykes as the skunk Stella, and this also has like William Shatner and Avril Lavigne as Ozzy and Heather, the father and daughter opossums. It has Nick Nolte as the voice of that big bear who bullies RJ. Vincent, he's like, RJ, see you in the morning. Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara, we all know who they are. Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara, we know from Home Alone and Beetlejuice. They're the voice of the Porcupine family. Lou and Penny, they play the Porcupine parents, and Allison Janney's in this. She voices Gladys Sharp, the Homeowners Association president, and it has Thomas Hayden Church in it as the Dwayne the Exterminator, and it also has British comic Omid Djalili as Tiger. That's Gladys's cat. Yeah, they were pretty good in this film. The plot of this movie is where Vern the turtle, he's Vern, voiced by Garry Shandling, and a few fellow woodland friends, the animals I mentioned, they awaken from hibernation from winter, and they wake up to a wall/bush which is called a hedge, and they have some new neighbors called humans, and they struggle to find new food. And after their grassland woodland areas like forests are are gone and destroyed, with new homes built called the suburbs, then they meet an opportunistic raccoon named RJ, and he shows the animals like Hammy the squirrel and all the other animals to exploit the suburban area bounty laid out before them, and then they go into other people's homes, like I get backyards or wherever, and steal food from like shelves and stuff. They even go around the neighborhood eventually, but then eventually that's when they go on other people's property and homes. The animals and one human lady, the Gladys, she's the president of the HOA, which stands for Homeowners Association. She eventually complains because the animals like this and that tries to destroy and everything, and then she calls the Verminator Dwayne, and he sets up traps for the animals and everything, extermination traps. Even he sets traps in Gladys's backyard and sets up an illegal exterminator device called the Depelter Turbo, and it was illegal in every state except Texas. And she's like, I don't care if this thing's against the Geneva Conventions. I want it. He installed it anyway illegally. But then eventually the animals didn't know that RJ was using the animals to get the food for that mean, big, homicidal bear, Vincent. He threatened to kill RJ if he don't get his food, especially give it to him in a week. And especially a Pringles chip like thing called chips called Spuddies, and that's when they go into Gladys's house that morning. The next morning, and then get the food, and then the Verminator comes and then captures them, and RJ, all of them except RJ, and then their animals are taken away to get disposed inhumanely by Gladys's request, and that's when RJ started to realize that he needed them and everything, and they were his really real family, and they needed him, and then he goes back and saves them and everything. He pushes the wagon down rocks and everything. It's the truck, and that's when he goes to save them, and then they turn their heads, and they just turn the truck back, and they head back to Gladys's, while Vincent was right behind him and everything, I remember, and he was hanging on to the truck while they were going back to Gladys's house, to their hideout and behind the hedge, and then that's where they stopped Gladys, Dwayne, and Vincent, and that's when they stopped. Hammy has that energy drink and then goes into the back. The world stops, and he goes, and the deep pelter turbo, turns the deep pelter turbo back on, and after he shut it off before they went into the house, before they got captured, and then he grabs the cookie, and then that's when they get zapped by the deep pelter turbo, and then they were put in a cage and everything, and then Vincent is taken away and shipped to the Rocky Mountains by animal control, and Gladys and Dwayne are arrested for that illegal device in her backyard, and he was like, "You do realize that?" And she was like, "Officer, please, it was that Verminator. He sold it to me. This has nothing to do." And he's like, "It was in your yard. Your name's on the contract. Save it for the judge." She's like, "I can't be arrested. I'm president of the homeowners association." She's like fighting, resisting, and the cops are like, "Somebody grab a twitch, or somebody grab her leg." She's doing like that kung fu stuff, but then Dwayne gets away, tries to get away, but then he goes in a backyard with that playful Rottweiler named Nugent, and he's like, "Play?" He's like, "No, ah!" Yeah, what he said when the deep pelter turbo zapped him and Gladys. Yeah, and then that's when the animals, then the animals are back behind the hedge, and they're celebrating, and they welcome RJ into the family and everything, and yeah, it's just a great movie. I mean, if you've never seen Over the Hedge before, I'm recommending you take a look at it. It's phenomenal. I mean, the cast and crew in this were pretty good, and I even like the scene. I remember when they get back by the hedge and everything, and that's when when the wagon hit the Dwayne's exterminator truck, and then knocks Dwayne out, and then the animals are like, that's when they drive, the porcupines are driving like they're playing the video game, and then they go back to Gladys. That's when they go back to the Gladys house where the hedge is at, and especially that scene where Stella the skunk sprayed inside the house, fire in the hole. And I liked it when Gladys, she sees it, and she's like, "Skunk!" Yeah, and she puffed out that smell and everything, and it didn't bother the cat Tiger, and Tiger and Stella eventually end up falling in love and getting to know each other, and yeah, it's a terrific film. And Leonard Maltin of Entertainment Tonight says it's laugh out loud funny, and he's right. I agree with him on that. If Leonard Maltin, he is correct, at least in my opinion. And Ebert and Robert gave this film 2 thumbs up, and Joel Siegel, may he rest in peace, of Good Morning America, said it's a wonderful, funny family movie, and I agree on that. It's fun, especially. I mean, Steve Carell, Bruce Willis, Garry Shandling, Nick Nolte, William Shatner. They're all of them. They were as good as they get in this film. I mean, yeah. And I also wanted to mention like Hammy when they come back into the yard, and that the when I mentioned Vincent was on the truck, and then the porcupine, his nose and the quills, and then Vincent falls off truck into that clown balloon, but then he eventually, the clown balloon, goes behind the hedge with him, and Hammy, he's like, scary clown, and then the Vincent lands on his feet and then takes that porcupine quilt and that boing, pokes the balloon, the clown, like, yeah. Oh yeah, there's so many things. I give this movie a ton of praise, especially for a rated PG family animated computer generated film. I mean, like I said, if you've never seen Over the Hedge before, I'm recommending it, strongly recommending it. And this movie has like a 75% out of on Rotten Tomatoes. I think it deserves a lot more than that. And it's got a 6.7 out of a 10 on IMDb and a 67% on Metacritic. And 74% of Google users liked it. I know I did. So, and there were I loved a lot of scenes in this too and everything, and it's just as good as it gets. That's all I have to say. And I strongly recommend this movie, Over the Hedge. So, all right, YouTube, nice seeing you. Take it easy, be safe, and stay out of trouble. Peace.